Welcome. I'm Bill Schwab, Interim Chair of the University of Wisconsin Department of Family Medicine and Community Health. One of the wonderful things that we do as a community is express appreciation. I am delighted that you are here with us today as we do just that. Today's event is an opportunity for us to take a moment to respect the contributions of past leaders who were foundational to the amazing accomplishments of our department over the last half century, and to honor people who exemplify that legacy today. I first want to acknowledge that in this year, we might be best served by honoring everyone. The dedication, creativity, adaptability, and wisdom of all of the members of our department has been extraordinary. Despite the many challenges, we've continued to provide outstanding clinical care and exceptional education, and we've continued to do important research and expand our community connections. Our core department staff has sustained our operations under the most trying of circumstances and has done so with exemplary professionalism. Their work is essential to everything we do. So thank you to all of you. In lifting some people up today for special recognition, we do not put others down. It is a privilege to be a lifter. We are fulfilled by seeing the light shine on our friends and colleagues. That is the power of gratitude. Our department has made a strong commitment to anti-racism, and central to that is an absolute standard of respect for all. As we strive to be a catalyst for a more just and equitable society, we know that we learn from the examples of those who have lived those values. Our leaders of the past and our honorees of the present, like so many of our professional partners and our coworkers, our friends and our families, exemplify our highest aspirations while acknowledging that there is still yet much to be done. At gatherings like this one, our reconfigured DFMCH, Renner-Hansen and Farley Frey event, we inspire each other to grow wiser and to build a better world. John Renner was the first chair of what was then known as the Department of Family Medicine and Practice. In 1970, family practice was newly approved as a medical specialty, and through the impetus of the state legislature, in particular, a young member of the assembly named Tommy Thompson, the UW started one of the first 15 family medicine residencies in the country. The vision of John Renner, who led the department from 1970 to 1978, was to foster educational programs that would assure the presence of doctors in this new specialty, family practice, throughout the state of Wisconsin to meet the needs of its citizens. 50 years later, we can note with pride that our residencies have gone on to graduate nearly 1,500 family physicians, with 2/3 of them practicing in the state. Just try to imagine healthcare in Wisconsin without them. We will hear from this year's Renner Wisconsin Idea awardee shortly. But before John Renner, there was Mark Hanson, who was truly the founder of the department. Mark's work set the stage for that initial residency and our statewide impact. Mark was an extraordinary educator. As a clinical teacher, a curriculum developer, a leader, and a highly respected mentor of countless students, residents, and faculty. The annual Hanson Lectureship that will be given today is a reflection of his example. Gene Farley, who served as chair from 1982 to 1992, was a force of nature. He was a person filled with ideas and boundless energy. And Gene was clear that what family physicians brought to communities was of the highest value in promoting health, not just by seeing to medical needs, but by forging partnerships to address broader issues. Gene and his wife, Linda Farley, who was also a longtime faculty member, were tireless advocates for peace and justice. This year, we have deferred hosting our annual Gene and Linda Farley Visiting Professorship, but we have every expectation that we will resume it in the fall. John Frey was our chair from 1993 to 2006. John brought a passion for documenting the work of family physicians to our department. He was the editor of the journal Family Medicine for many years, so understood well the importance of rigor in scholarship. He catalyzed the expansion of our research and other academic accomplishments. In addition, John is an historian who has been a major contributor to archiving the stories of decades of family physicians, and he has a wonderful feel for the synthesis of literary humanities with the science and practice of medicine. Our annual Frey Writing Awards that will be given today acknowledge the importance of linking heart and mind. And in this year, I must also speak to the deep loss we feel in not having our dear friends Beth Potter and Robin Carey with us. It is with affection and respect that we call forth their memories. Beth and Robin loved getting together with members of the department in times of celebration like this. They were warm colleagues who appreciated the work of everyone, and they exemplified the values and qualities we are acknowledging today. They are profoundly missed. We typically host our Farley Frey reception in September, and then our Renner-Hansen reception in November. This year, through the innovation of technology, we bring them together for a single event in January, perhaps appropriately on the palindromic date of 1/20/2021, a metaphor for looking forward and back at the same time. We do this because we do not want to pass up an opportunity to appreciate, to remember, and to honor. I regret that I can't offer you a glass of wine or some fine hors d'oeuvres, but I can invite you to be stimulated by provocative thoughts from our speakers and to be inspired by the accomplishments of our awardees. So please, stay with us for this hour and enjoy. Our 2020 Renner Wisconsin IDEA honoree is Dr. Joff Swain, a family physician who served as medical director for the City of Milwaukee Health Department from 2003 to 2019. Joff has been a quintessential practicing academic who has had a significant impact on community and public health in our state. In addition to the core public health work he did on a sustained basis, serving the people of Milwaukee and beyond, Joff led grant projects focused on improving childhood immunization rates, supporting home-based services, addressing housing insecurity, and reimagining criminal justice. Joff became a member of our department faculty in 2005 and is now an emeritus professor following his retirement last year. He has received multiple awards for his work and has served on numerous committees, including the DFMCH Community Health Advisory Board, the UW Masters in Public Health Steering Committee, and the UW SMPH Triumph Advisory Committee. He is also the founding director of the Wisconsin Center for Health Equity and its current board president. Dr. Swain has focused on building and maintaining connections with community partners. In honoring him with the Renner Wisconsin IDEA Award, we express our appreciation for his dedication and innovation, as well as our respect for him as a role model who has demonstrated the power of bringing together family medicine and public health. And now we have the privilege of hearing from Joff Swain.
Greetings, and thank you so much for this honor. Like many physicians my age, I didn't get much exposure to public health in either medical school or residency. I chose family medicine as a specialty because of its broad and comprehensive nature, and because the family docs I interacted with didn't seem too full of themselves. They seemed more like regular people. After my residency, 2 years of full-time patient care, and 3 years as a residency program faculty, I took a medical director position 27 years ago at the City of Milwaukee Health Department in partnership with the Medical College of Wisconsin. At the time, I naively thought, public health, how hard can it be? Turns out, it's pretty hard, even without a pandemic. Ironically, it might have been especially hard for a family doc because we're taught that we know something about almost everything. And sometimes we don't appreciate that there's a deeper knowledge available. Fortunately, I've had the benefit of simply stellar mentors and colleagues from the very beginning and really throughout my career, mostly non-physicians, nurses, disease intervention specialists, health officers, clerical staff, epidemiologists, community advocates, and many others who taught me most of what I know. My professional focus evolved from more medical and clinical issues like communicable disease and occupational health to broader areas of public health like maternal child health and environmental health. And for the bulk of my career, I've focused far upstream on social determinants of health, health equity, and public health workforce development. These are issues that I'm continuing to address as a volunteer in retirement, along with providing some support for pandemic response. In 2004, I came to Madison, and I asked John Frey if I could join the faculty of the UW Department of Family Medicine. Dr. Frey was supportive right from the start, as were his successors, Dr. Jim Davis and Dr. Val Gilchrist. As a result, I've had the added privilege over the past 16 years to be associated with many more remarkable colleagues in this department and across the School of Medicine and Public Health. As a physician who doesn't take care of individual patients, I'm kind of a black sheep, but nonetheless, I have always felt warmly welcomed and appreciated for my unique perspectives by the school in general and by the department in particular. And this has meant more to me than I can express. Still, I would have never imagined receiving this award. One of the key things that I attribute my career success to is my deep and unflinching commitment to reflective practice and continuous improvement. It stems from a sense of confidence that I'm good at what I do, and simultaneously from an abiding belief that I have plenty of room for improvement, and I mean significant, non-trivial improvement. In a parallel way, I've appreciated working here because the school and the department are very good at what they do, and because generally, the school and the department seem open to looking at opportunities for improvement. Improvement is particularly important right now. In clinical medicine and in public health, people are burned out in general, and they're exhausted from the pandemic in particular. They're drowning in a sea of demands and relationship-sapping technology. There's a sense of dislocation, lack of appreciation, and loss of control. And for our colleagues of color, there's another layer of exhaustion, a lifetime, in fact, many lifetimes, of experiencing discrimination and racism, and seeing both intense public discourse and often barely perceptible change. I believe that burnout and exhaustion can be addressed, at least in part, by returning to two things that can help keep us, help us regain and maintain our footing, two things that can help keep us sane and grounded, two things connected to why we were attracted to family medicine in the first place: relationships and lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is something that I think we all aspire to and that we all want to teach our students and residents about, but how good at it are we really? To what degree are we really modeling it for our learners and for each other? Muriel Levinson, professor of education at Harvard, says, if you are learning, you are doing something, at least for a while, you don't know how to do. That's a vulnerable position to be in. Showing our vulnerability is crucially important, and it is scary difficult. That's why Levinson adds that as human beings, we need to have relationships with some level of trust to be able to tolerate being in such a vulnerable position. Not coincidentally, relationships and trust are at the core of family medicine. And if family medicine is about relationships and trust with individuals and families, then public health is about relationships and trust with communities. And relationships and trust really start in our professional homes, in our clinics, in our offices. Think about your own context. How are those relationships? What needs improving? I guarantee you there is room for improvement, and it is not trivial. There are places where trust has been broken, respect has been neglected, credibility has been lost. You might not even know where that's happened, but it has. So, in family medicine and in public health, we've got work to do. Work to strengthen our relationships with our colleagues at all levels, and this in turn sets the foundation for the crucial work needed to strengthen our relationships with our communities. Also have to talk about power. Researchers from right here at the UW Population Health Institute, Givens, Kindig, Inzio, and Faust, have postulated that power may be the most fundamental cause of health inequities. They write that advancing health equity requires attention to power as a determinant and empowerment, or building power, as a process. There are parallels between the power dynamics in a doctor-patient relationship, the power dynamics in a department-community relationship, and the power dynamics within a departmental organization. I believe that the more power I have, the more careful I should be with that power. The farther I am up a particular hierarchy, the more I should listen, the less I should talk, and the more sensitively I should talk when I do. I also believe that power is not a zero-sum game. When I give someone credit for work I helped contribute to, it doesn't detract from my power. It actually adds to it, while also empowering the other person. But I know that it is easier for me, an old white guy with a bunch of letters after my name, to be relaxed about giving away my power. Nobody erases my contributions, minimizes them, or appropriates them. Many other people do not have the kinds of privileges that I do in this regard. In short, we need direct and conscious attention to power in the spirit of reflective practice and continuous improvement. The department has been a model for the state and the nation, and as we all do, it needs to continually change and grow. Because high functioning and high performance, they are products of both high support and high challenge. I would like to leave you with some challenges for the department to consider. And I'd like to do that in the context of being the Department of Family Medicine and Community Health, and in the context of the Institute of Medicine definition of public health, which is what we do collectively to assure the conditions in which people can be healthy. Here are 5 ideas. Imagine if we could actualize them, how much positive growth they would bring. Number 1, what if we had even stronger relationships with the community? For example, more formal partnerships with local and statewide organizations that are already working on social determinants of health, and maybe even providing formal departmental appointments to community partners. Number 2, what if we had an even stronger research emphasis on community health? For example, more incentives for conducting community-based participatory research, stronger research support for the Office of Community Health, and stronger research links to other UW institutes and centers working on social determinants of health and health equity. Number 3, what if we could put an even stronger teaching emphasis on public health? For example, formal professional development in public health for existing faculty and staff, recruiting new faculty who have actual public health practice experience, broadening our conception of public health expertise to include not only physicians, but a wide variety of public health staff, and maybe even creating a 4-year residency that includes a master's in public health. Number 4, what if we did much more around policy advocacy? For example, incentivizing policy research and activities that educate policymakers and the public about health policy broadly speaking, and focusing the bulk of our collective policy efforts upstream on social and economic policies that are root cause determinants of health and health inequities. And number 5, what if we redoubled our commitment to our professional climate? And I mean specifically a climate that supports vulnerability, the vulnerability to be wrong, or to have a change of mind or a change of heart, a climate that is empowering, a climate that encourages and rewards relationship development, risk-taking, dissent, and a willingness to learn and grow and change. In summary, we have complex systems creating negative outcomes, and we call these outcomes wicked problems, but they are exactly the outcomes that the designs of these systems produce. We have to change our systems, and those systems are made of people. And the one person we can most likely change is the one you can see in the mirror. Change is not easy, and growth can be painful, but the rewards make it worth the work. I thank you for this honor. I thank you for over 16 years welcoming me, a black sheep non-clinician, into your flock. For over 50 years, this department has been a model for the nation, with a continuing commitment to reflective practice, lifelong learning, and relationship development. The future is bright. Thank you.
The Mark Hanson Lectureship was established in 1993 to recognize an early career faculty member who has demonstrated extraordinary talent as an educator. The roster of past recipients of this honor is extremely distinguished. Dr. Adrian Hampton is a worthy addition to this group, as she represents the very best of our faculty. Adrian is a graduate of the Feinberg School of Medicine at Northwestern University, the Madison Family Medicine Residency Program, and the DFMCH's Academic Integrative Medicine Fellowship. She became an assistant professor in our department in 2015. Adrian is a consummate family physician who is an excellent clinician, highly respected for her expertise in women's health, maternity care, and integrative medicine. She is a skilled educator and a warm mentor. She is nationally recognized for her teaching in a range of settings, including the Family-Centered Maternity Care Conference, the VA Whole Health Initiative, and the HEAL Zen Leadership Program. We invite our Hanson lecturer to share thoughts about a topic or topics of their choosing. I can't wait to hear from my friend and colleague, Dr. Adrian Hampton.
Hi, I'm Adrian Hampton. I'm faculty at the School of Medicine and Public Health for Family Medicine, and I am this year's Hanson lecturer. I definitely appreciate this honor. I appreciate that I've been invited to speak in 2020 without swearing. I'm really excited to see how I'm going to do with that. And I'll just remind you that 90 to 100 is an A. Okay, so there's a range, and probably 100% is not a reasonable expectation, but we'll see. I'll describe myself. So I am an African-American woman. My pronouns are she, her. I have black hair that is up in a bun. I am wearing a maroon shirt. I'm wearing black pants. And let's get started. So 2020. All right. It was rough. It was rough. We lost Beth and Robin. We had what possibly was our last Democratic election, and the results are hotly contested, and that's scary. There is a trash pandemic happening right now. Climate change. Places are on fire a lot of the time. We watched police murder unarmed Black people in the street. And there was a national debate over whether or not my life matters. So 2020 was a garbage year. Just facts. And then, like any empty Doritos bag blowing around in a city street, it had a silver lining, right? So we had a diversity summit at the UW, and it was uplifting. It was a bright spot. Some of you got to see part of that, the Ableism Interrupted talk as part of an educational afternoon. I had the privilege of seeing the talk, the keynote by Ms. Austin Channing Brown, who wrote, "I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness." And her talk was amazing and it was inspiring. And she was trying to breathe life into all the young activists who were present, many of them undergraduates, very green. And she was asking one particularly dynamic, busy undergraduate woman of color, what do you do to indulge your Blackness? She asked this question very specifically. And at this point, it was just me and Austin Channing Brown having a conversation, because all of a sudden it became very personal. What do you do to indulge your Blackness? Not tolerate, not accept, not interrogate, not explain, not justify, not commoditize. What do you do to indulge your Blackness? And I thought, Austin Channing Brown, I have no idea. Which is important, because I am a self-care person. I am kind of a professional navel gazer. And to have never thought about this, it was instructive. And so that's what we're gonna do for the rest of our time together. We are gonna indulge, as I was tasked by Austin Channing Brown, Blackness. And so you are invited to indulge your own or appreciate somebody else's in this space. And what I want to talk about in that vein today is the blues. Because, spoiler alert, this is how I connected with the invitation from Ms. Channing Brown. So the blues, this is an art form from the Deep South, born in the 1800s of people who were enslaved. And my first encounter with the blues was actually in college. I was tasked with writing an honors project on Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey, who are two larger-than-life blues women with storied histories of lesbian affairs and raucous body behavior that would have pushed the envelope, shall we say, for the time. And I really think that my professor was using these women as medicine for me. He was sort of appreciating my struggle and some of my suffering as a queer, confused undergraduate Black woman in the Deep South. And I think that's what good professors do. I think he was really in tune with that. And so he sort of prescribed these women to me, which I feel grateful for. And then my second encounter with the blues was actually through my dad, John O. Hampton Sr., who's a rocket scientist. He launches rocket ships. And he worked at Kennedy Space Center. And during his era as chief engineer there, you could take MLK Day or Robert E. Lee's birthday, but you couldn't take both. You had to pick a side. This is where he managed to launch things into outer space, this kind of hostility every day. And he's a huge fan of the blues. And I think it's a way of processing his experience. And that's what the forum is largely about. So he took me to a blues jam at this dive bar in Sanford, Florida called The Alley, which I think is the name of every blues bar, and this bar was no exception. So he took me to The Alley, and it was great. It was a cast of characters. It was officiated by exactly who I would expect, this curmudgeonly old black man who would not hesitate to tell you about yourself or your playing. And, you know, you sign your name on the roster, and then he calls you up, and then he promptly boots you off the stage, or you get to stay. And so this whole affair was quite the show. It was deeply entertaining, and it really resonated, and I wanted to be able to participate. I knew at that time, if I got up there and tried to play, that I would be sad. That I would not be invited to stay, and it would be very bad. But it stayed with me as something that is definitely on the bucket list. And I enjoy going to live blues music now. And then my third encounter with the blues was actually more recently with my partner, Jenna, who is a professional musician, not a hack like me. But when I met her, I was very diligently practicing music that was written note for note in a book. And she was like, well, that's a great skill. Congratulations. This is probably why you're a doctor, but now you need to start to improvise. And I declined that invitation for a long time because that did not feel safe or like what I do. I read the notes and I memorize them and then I spit them back perfect. That's what I do. And she was like, you know, especially if you're going to be a bass player, you really have to be able to just make stuff up on the fly, to just feel it and hear it and generate music out of your being, not just off of a page. And she finally, I relented first, let's say. She won. And so one of the things that we do in a way that I realize that I indulge in this connection to this music rooted in the experience of Black people is we blues jam. She plays lead guitar and I play bass guitar, and whatever happens. And it is deeply therapeutic and deeply healing. And I really am lucky that that's something that I get to do in my living room. All right, and then here we are. So the blues is a form that is participatory, that has been maintained as a very simple chord progression for a reason, to invite people in so that they can anticipate what's going to happen and sing along. And that's what we're going to do. We're gonna just have fun with the 12-bar blues form. So you'll notice some things. You'll notice that this isn't a blues guitar, it's a blues bass. I don't know how to play guitar, so that's not what we're doing. And it's not actually a blues bass, it's just a regular bass, but also we're indulging, okay? So things that are careless, frivolous, things that are otherwise ill-advised are okay, because that's what indulging means. And so we are gonna just work with what we got. So a 12-bar blues form, you will be able to anticipate. You'll be able to sing along. It sounds like this. You just lay down the story, introduce the characters. tell us about what they did. Remind us of the point. Climax. And then wrap it up. And that's a 12-bar blues, and you already know how it's going to go. And that is because this chord progression underlies so much of music that is American, music that is identified with our country. And so that is why it translates so well, is because it is a simple form that people can connect to and participate in. So I think blues music is about just getting out something, and that something will probably be relatable. It doesn't have to, but since we all probably have a lot of shared common experience, probably whatever comes out is going to be relatable. And so I'm going to do an example of a song I wrote about 2020. And then just be thinking about your 2020 experience, because like I said, this is participatory, so spoiler alert, you're going to do this at the end. All right, so here's my 2020 blues. It's depressing, but there you go. There's babies in cages, the temperature's hot, pandemic it rages, and Kenosha's on fire. I'm feeling blue. With no end in sight, I can't get no sleep tonight. I'm feeling blue. So simple, right? Like not too many words, not too many room for too many words. It's not the point, just get it out. And it doesn't have to sound amazing, obviously. So we're just emoting, we're just processing, we're just being human when we play and sing the blues. And so now it's your turn. This already happened, so pause me, think about what you want to do for your blues, and then I'm going to play you a backing track, and you're going to add it, okay? So here's your backing track. Go nuts. Do whatever you want. Write 12 and sing them all. It's meant to be relatable. It's meant to be a community effort. So sing out. That's the invitation. All right. Well, I hope that you got something off your chest with your blues. I certainly did with mine. I appreciate you carving out this moment to appreciate and enjoy and indulge Blackness and Black people's music, and take good care. Live long and prosper. This is the rocket ship part. This was compulsory in my house. Okay, bye-bye.
Our Department of Family Medicine and Community Health is what it is due to the efforts of many, many people. It is with that in mind that I am particularly excited to tell you about this year's recipients of the Robert Drockenberg Staff Excellence Award. Bob Drockenberg was our department administrator for close to 25 years. Bob knew everything about the department and everyone in it. He saw his role as supporting the accomplishments of others, and he found great satisfaction in working with a team. This award recognizes those values, and this year's recipients are outstanding in how they have incorporated them into their work. June Dawes is someone you can count on. Knowledgeable, proactive, problem-solving, dedicated, and a joy to be with. June has been a part of our department's human resources team for 24 years. June gets that seemingly baffling details of arcane personnel systems have real impacts on people's lives. So she handles issues with great sensitivity and thoroughness. Working through confusing problems with furloughs and benefits and leave time and payroll may not seem glamorous, but having someone to go to who does it with knowledge, judgment, caring, and kindness is immensely appreciated. Congratulations to June on being selected as one of our 2020 Drockenberg Award recipients. Christina Mcewen expresses her caring and compassion in a different setting. As a nurse at our Verona clinic, she's had a number of roles relating directly to patients and now serves as the clinic's RN care coordinator, providing focused support for individuals who have the highest needs to assure that we provide the best care we can. We all know how complex and confusing our systems can be and how difficult they can be to navigate. Christina is a great advocate who gets to know patients well so that she can partner with them to meet their goals and preferences. Her colleagues at the Verona Clinic describe her as positive, collaborative, and resourceful. They really appreciate her added skills as a lactation consultant who has aided many young families. Most impressively, she is a brilliant example of the powerful impact that team-based care can have in the lives of our patients. Congratulations to Christina Mcewen on being selected as one of our 2020 Drockenberg Award recipients. Dan Samuelson makes everything done in our Madison residency program better. Dan says yes to challenges. His sense of humor lightens the load for everyone. Working with Dan is fun. In recent years, he has taken on the role of recruitment coordinator for the annual process of interviewing and selecting new residents, and he has done so with enthusiasm, thoughtfulness, and attention to detail. This annual process underwent massive change this year, as what has always been a high connection, in-person experience of necessity has had to be done virtually. Every aspect of the approach we have used for decades had to change. Dan has been up to the task. With innovation, technical prowess, and indomitable spirit, Dan reconfigured everything and has made it work. He is a wonderful ambassador for the program and a great support for his colleagues. Congratulations to Dan Samuelson on being selected as one of our 2020 Drockenberg Award recipients.
Hi to friends and colleagues. Appreciate very much a chance to say a few things about the awards this year, but I'd like to start with a couple of comments about writing and what's been happening in my observation for the past year. As many of you know, I'm involved with a number of journals, and what's striking is the amount of material that is coming into journals, whether that's the Wisconsin Medical Journal, the Annals of Family Medicine, British Journal of General Practice. Everyone is writing, which is on one hand terrific. But I think the major reason people are writing has to do with what we've been through this past year and the pandemic and the changes in our lives and the changes in our patients and the things we've had to face and the struggles that we've had to try and find a way to get purpose and meaning for ourselves. So I think that in general, I'd encourage everyone to try and keep writing. It's important, whether we need to do that during a time of great stress or whether you can do it for the rest of your life, which is something I've learned how to do. I carry with me, as many of you know, a notebook, always have, to write things down, to scribble ideas, to keep it with me. And it's been a source of tremendous satisfaction to go back over the last 25 or 30 years of notebooks to see what's changed and what's changed for me. So I encourage you to keep writing, keep a notebook, find a place to write. You know, I'm talking with you today from my house, which is where I write. But some people write on the labor deck, some people write at night, some people write in the daytime, but find a time and a place to write. It'll do you good and it'll help us. And please share what you have written with your colleagues and with this process.
It is fitting that we honor an extraordinary person this extraordinary year, which has been so challenging for everyone, especially those of us in clinical care. It's my pleasure to announce that the recipient of this year's Clinical Excellence Award is Dr. Sandra Kamnitz. Sandy has been the Monona doctor for more than 3 decades. She's been totally dedicated to her patients, always striving to improve their care and the service that they receive, whether it's creating one of the first patient family advisory councils for her clinic or making home visits to draw blood and to give an immunization. And in more recent years, she has done the same for all of us in family medicine and primary care in her role as the clinical vice chair, advocating for us and serving as our ambassador to the UW health system. For all your long years of dedicated work and excellent care and service, we thank you, Sandy. Congratulations.
Hi, this is Bruce Barrett. As part of my duties for Vice Chair for Research, I get to present the William Scheckler Awards for Best Research Papers from the Department of Family Medicine and Community Health. There are 2 categories for trainee and faculty papers. And then there are also second place, runner-up, and first place. The Trainee Award, the runner-up, is a paper by Maggie Grabo and multiple co-authors entitled What Moves Us? Subjective and Objective Predictors of Active Transportation. That was published in the Journal of Transport and Health. Maggie was a research fellow at the time. The runner-up in the faculty category was a paper by Matt Swedland, Derek Norton, Jen Bursler, Guanha Chen, Laura Cruz, and Larry Hanrahan. This one was published in the American Journal of Hypertension, and the title was Effectiveness of Best Practice Alerts at Improving Hypertension Control. In the actual winner categories of the prize, we have a trainee category and faculty as well. And the trainee is a paper by Ellen Goldstein and co-authors published in the journal General Hospital Psychiatry. Ellen was also a research fellow at the time in 2019 when this was published. And the title of that paper is Addressing Adverse Childhood Experiences and Health Risk Behaviors Among Low-Income Black Primary Care Patients. Testing feasibility of a motivation-based intervention. That was done in a clinic in Milwaukee. Well, she was a fellow here in the department. Now she's an assistant scientist. We kept her on because she's so good. And the first place award for the Sheckler research paper of 2019 for faculty is a paper by Marlon Munt and Larissa Zakletskia. And this was published in the Annals of Family Medicine, clearly the top journal in our field. And their paper was entitled Professional Communication Networks and Job Satisfaction in Primary Care Clinics. I want to congratulate these folks and all the other people. We put out about 100 papers a year from this department, and it's always wonderful to go through and try to figure out which ones are best, which ones are most relevant to our mission, which ones are published in the best journals, which ones have the highest quality methodology, the most sound conclusions, interpretations. So it's really a pleasure to look through the nominated papers. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present these awards, and way to go, winners, and way to go, everybody in this department. We're the fourth best department in the country, family medicine department, according to U.S. News and World Report, and that's really something to be proud of. Thank you very much.
Excellence inspires us. Passion inspires us. Wisdom inspires us. I hope that in attending this event, you feel inspired. We see and live excellence and passion and wisdom every day in the dedication of our colleagues. We have honored community and spirit. We have honored caring and professionalism. We have honored creativity and academic rigor. Though, regrettably, we do not have the opportunity to greet each of these honorees personally, I very much hope you take the opportunity to reach out to them in other ways to offer your congratulations and good wishes. I want to particularly thank Stacy Lansing and Matt Fleming, who put together this unique presentation. They have been fantastic in their planning. I also want to thank Sue McGuire and John Hawkins, who are the leaders of our awards process, as well as the many individuals who contributed their time to the selection process. Our Department of Family Medicine and Community Health was recently ranked the #4 department in the entire country. We are national leaders due to the contributions of every person in the department. Thank you for all you do. Be well and stay safe.